All right, Shift 5 is gone live. We are back on the YouTube. We are back in business. Donating link is set. Shift 5 title is changed. Shift 5 YouTube chat is opening. Authors are reassembling. Randoms Jake, Uranium Empire, and Dr. Cimmerian. Is it Cimmerian? Is it Cimmerian? How do you prefer that pronounced?
It's Sumerian. Imagine the word like the ancient Sumerians.
If I can be
with
heard.
an I. Can you hear me?
Oh, Cimmerian
Yeah.
dropped out.
No,
I
Sumerians.
don't think you can hear people.
Oh no, I heard Sumerian.
I know,
I think
me too.
Sherm can't hear us.
Wait,
though.
can you two hear?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can hear you two, and you two can hear Cimmerian. But Cimmerian can't hear me.
I can hear you.
You can't hear him. Or can you?
Oh, he can hear me, because I can't hear him.
Yeah, that's what the issue is. You can't
Are you
hear him.
it's like an ancient logic puzzle.
I'll
It's
hop out and back in. Let's see if that works.
emergent behavior by a.
Yeah, because right now I've got Cimmerian. Okay, now I see him.
Can you hear me?
Now I can hear you. We're back,
Yeah,
baby.
I just hopped out and back in. I figured that would probably fix it. Turn it off and on.
Perfect. All right, the crew is back together. The YouTube is all set. Do any of you guys have any stories you're in the mood to read?
Well,
Without volunteers, my thinking is we do something in the name of the theme. We did a Halloween
I was
one
just-
last time, so maybe we do... Oh, question?
no, I mean, I was looking through. I'm probably just going to pick one of my tales and read them.
Nice.
Let me think here. Something Halloween themed. Because I've written Halloween stories before, so I'm sure I could just find one. This one's pretty short, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah. This is horror themed. This will work.
Sweet. Which one is it?
It's called In the Dark.
In the dark.
Yeah. Joe's head bounced off the metal table with a... The man in the suit behind him cracked his knuckles and walked around the table. Joe shook his head. The initial hit was still ringing in his ears. Look, I'm still entertaining buyers. I swear you're going to get your cut soon. See, here's the thing. The man in the suit reached across the table and slapped Joe in the side of the head with an open palm. The force of the blow lifted Joe out of the chair and sent him flying into the floor. The man in the suit straightened his tie. Carter and his associates handed you that truck on a silver platter. You left us holding our dicks for 3 weeks while you entertained buyers. Joe cradled his head as he felt the boot kick him in the stomach. He retched slightly and curled into a fetal position. The man in the suit crouched in front of Joe and continued. I vouched for you. You understand what that means, right? You fuck up and it's my balls on the line. Joe tried to answer through the pain. I swear, I'll get you your cut before the end of the week. The man in the suit patted Joe on the side of the face. I don't got that kind of time, Joe. My boss is breathing down my neck about this. I had to tell him something, so he's taking a personal interest. The man in the suit stood up and walked over to the only door in the gray room. He knocked 3 times before opening it and moved to the corner of the room opposite Joe. The door swung open on its own, and Joe could see a bright light in the warehouse outside before it was eclipsed by something massive. Whatever it was had the rough shape of a man, but was far too tall. It ducked under the doorway and entered the room. Joe's eyes went wide as the lamp at the center of the room illuminated the creature. The creature's fingers reached all the way to the floor, terminating in sharp nails. From Joe's perspective, it was hard to tell where the fingers ended and the nails began, but they scraped the ground as the thing crept with staccato steps, leaning forward on backwards-facing knees. The gray, wrinkled skin covering the creature pulsed and throbbed under the light, with bulbous pustules rupturing and healing repeatedly. The thing's face was all smiles, with a grin that reached up and out of sight around the back of its head. As it stopped in front of Joe, it focused its single yellow eye on the man and opened an impossibly wide mouth. "Where," it began with a shallow and breathless voice, "are the fucking artifacts?" Joe shat his pants. It wasn't a subtle affair. The creature twisted its head into an impossible degree, but continued to stare at Joe. And Joe, for his part, couldn't have formed words if he'd wanted to. He'd lost all control of his faculties. All he could see or hear or think about was the creature's eye. The creature finally looked up from Joe's paralyzed form at the man in the suit across the room, and it opened its mouth again. "It's got a warehouse in Fulton River." It stopped and wheezed. "I've got an address. We'll go there after I'm done." For Joe, the physical pain was gone. All he could focus on was the yellow eye, probing. The creature's neck twisted grotesquely as it returned to staring at Joe. Joe's eyes filled with tears, but he didn't move. Then the creature moved back slightly, and Joe began to gasp. He hadn't realized it, but he'd stopped breathing, and suddenly his lungs were screaming for air. "What?" the creature gasped out as it looked at the man in the suit. "Do you think we should do with him?" The man in the suit stepped out of the shadows of the corner and shrugged. "Well, he's a good earner, but I'm not inside his head. Is he loyal?" Joe saw the back of the creature's head as it smiled. The teeth did in fact go all the way around. "He is now." The man in the suit smiled back. "Good. I'll call Dark and let him know we'll have the artifacts by the end of the day." "Yes," the creature said before standing up and moving towards the door. The man in the suit nodded. "Thanks, boss. Sometimes these kids are more trouble than they're worth." The creature didn't say anything else as both it and the man in the suit walked out of the room. Joe shivered on the floor for several more minutes before finally getting the courage to stand up and leave.
That's a story and a half.
Yeah, not a super popular one of mine. It's only plus 23, but it is horror themed, so I thought it was appropriate.
In the spirit of the event.
Yes, I've got way more Christmas stories than I have Halloween stories, but I got a few Halloween stories.
I'm like the opposite. Like growing up Jewish in Texas, for me, all of winter was just me liking Halloween, and occasionally there was Hanukkah. That was fun, but I'm more of a Halloween person.
Yeah, I remember looking at the wiki last year, a couple of years ago, when I did the Christmas live stream for just like 3 hours just for fun, and found a lot of really good Christmas stories, but I haven't looked for Halloween stories before, and I found them harder to find.
There was a contest
there's
back in...
You would think there would be more of them, considering it's a supposedly horror-themed fiction site, but not so much.
Yeah. I have a single, like, it takes place close to Halloween, and it deals with, like, it deals with, like, a whole gaggle of monsters being bound by, like, some abusive thaumaturgist, but I don't know if it's stream appropriate. It's incredibly dark.
Ooh, boy. I say, what is it? Let me peek at it real quick.
Last Minute Resistance. It was written for International GOI Con 2019. Actually, Sumerian, did you have any idea of like what the anomaly was? Like when you wrote that tale? Is it a specific thing?
No, I just made it up.
Pretty cool. Either way.
Yeah, it's just a monster. You know, designing monsters is easy. You just got to give them some sort of something physically distinctive, and then go for broke on like how they react and talk. Like I like the idea that he has this really otherworldly voice, but still just talks like a normal person. Otherwise, the content of his speech is just like a normal person talking. But of course, it's this giant teeth monster thing.
Yeah.
I'm going to trust your word on Last Resistance and think of something else. If I'm told something's too dark on the SCP wiki, that's something worth worrying about a little bit when it comes to brand safety.
Well, I'll throw out another one of mine that I know is not well. Yeah, it's family friendly. Mugging the Monster. Somebody else wants to read it, maybe.
I'll read it.
Hit it.
All right.
I'll look
Shit,
it up
Mugging
while
the
you
Monster.
do.
All right. Dr. Sumerian stopped as he reached the Applebee's bar. His mind raced. The restaurant door was 8.5 meters away. It would take him maybe 3-4 seconds to cross the distance at a dead sprint if the door was clear. The floor was clear. The floor was not clear. A mass of people stood between him and the nearest exit, some clad in costumes, some like Sumerians, straight from work in their lab coats. After last year's mix-up, the rule came down. No SCP cosplay, but there, right across the room, was a sexy plague doctor. Well, he hoped it was a sexy plague doctor. Dr. Foster had asked him to come, then fucked off as soon as they arrived. A pretty researcher from the 20th floor dressed as Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz sat alone at the bar. He glanced over to her nervously. She smiled back. Yep, this was going to be just like last Halloween. A disaster. He could feel it. The pulsing sounds of music began to hammer into his head. A headache was all this basically amounted to. But if he was going to have a headache tomorrow, he might as well have it for a good reason. Hey, you got the bartender's attention. Can I get a 7 and 7? Sumerian, I have to ask, is a 7 and 7 a specific drink I don't know of?
Whiskey and 7-Up. Seaver 7 whiskey.
Oh.
Storm 7, sorry.
Yeah, I don't drink much.
But it's just something I chose for.
Yeah. She nodded and started pouring his drink. He turned back around and caught Dorothy eyeing him to the side. What's in that? She said with a slight squint. 7-Up and whiskey. Could have just read. She blinked, smirked, and nodded. Nice! It does the job. The bartender set the drink down in front of him, and he took a long drag from the straw, trying his best to look cool while doing so, and, given the straw, failing. So you're the ethics guy? I am. You work on the 20th, right? She put her right hand out. Yes, I'm Megan. He shook her hand and finally sat down at the bar. Jeremiah. My friends and you can call me Jerry. We're not friends? She pouted a little. We'll see. He immediately undercut the line by drinking from the straw again. Love it. He got to know her a little better as the night progressed. She was a biologist with an expertise in pinnipeds. She hadn't said, but he figured that put her on the 3213 containment team, which was nice. He dated people at the site before who had issues due to the seriousness of their jobs. It was nice to have a conversation with someone who didn't have that much baggage. She just needed to make sure the SEALs didn't kill Carl, and she could go home with a clean conscience. He told a joke. She laughed. She fired back. He laughed. It was fun, different, almost relaxing. The pulsing music and dancing people seemed to fall away for an hour or two. The two of them didn't notice as most of the partiers left and the party winded down. She was still nursing her first drink. When he ordered his fifth, the bartender gave him that get the fuck out look. Sumerian stood up. He was a little wobbly, too drunk to drive, but not much worse. I'll call an Uber. Are you all right, or do you need one too? Megan looked disappointed, but shook her head. I barely touched mine. I can actually get you home if you want. You're off site, right? He told her where his apartment was, and they walked out into the dimly lit parking lot. It was about 1 a.m. There were still monsters milling about. As they got to her car, she pulled out her keys and unlocked the door. A man in a zombie mask walked far too close and pulled something from the back of his pants. Sumerian pulled a Colt 1911 out of his shoulder holster, and Megan pulled a Walther PPK out of a thigh holster under her blue dress. All three stood in silence. The zombie's pistol was still aimed at the ground. He hadn't even lifted it before theirs were pointed at his face. He dropped it and ran. Two of them stood there for another few seconds before putting their own weapons away. They laughed and got into the car, leaving the zombie's gun on the pavement. They both already had one, after all. Megan cocked her head to the side. Your place or mine? Mine is fine. She put the car into drive. Bounce, chicka, wow, wow. Of course, this appears to be part of Rammer, Jammer, Yellow Hammer, a series I generally link to whenever I reference Dr. Sumerian.
Yeah, the Rammer Jammer Yellowhammer. Well, technically, it's hard to say where my tales go. I have a tale series that runs across like 5 or 6 different canons at this point, but it still just continues story after story.
Yeah, I think it starts with the 1,000 Deaths of Pastor Lewis Robinson.
I believe it does, yes. Wait, hold on. We got to say the whole name of that tale, because that
the 1,000 Deaths of Pastor Lewis Robinson, : The Ethics of Repeatedly Drowning Baptists. .rpt.
Yes. I just love that. I love really, really long names for tales every once in a while. There's that one. There's 4 stories told in order to mislead a sentient severed hand that just wanted to ask a goddamn personal question for once, which is probably my favorite tale title.
My favorite tale title is kind of cheating. David Cameron fucked a dead pig. I remember back when
I love how you were worried about a tale being too edgy for the stream. Yeah.
Well, the thing is, I'm not going to read that one because it's marked as adult. Don't worry. No dead pigs were fucked in the making of that story. It's just the story deals with like the jacks, specifically spades. And there's a section of him just like thinking about the fact that he's in a dry spell.
That's, man. So that title got me. You broke me. I need a second.
It was very much inspired by Randomini's Wowee Go Killer Shuffle. I was around when that was posted, so I saw a meteoric rise, and I thought, I really should start this tale series with a title that just gets people thinking, what?
All right. I'm going to pitch you guys a tale to read. It's another one of mine. Here's the pitch. Multi-universal Dr. Bright is a pirate named Brightbeard.
Oh, I remember that one. I think your self-insert gets his head blown up immediately.
Yes, it's the very first line. Yeah, Sumerian dies in the very first line of that story. Look up, wipe that golden tear from your mother, dear, and raise what's left of the flag for me. That's the name of the title.
I get that reference.
Ah, do you?
We sing that at karaoke.
You want to read that one?
I'll give it a go. I don't want the song lyrics. I want SCP. All right, let's hit it. And Dr. Sumerian's head exploded in a cloud of red mist. The man who'd fired the shot was hanging out from a rope off the side of a wooden sailing ship that was inexplicably floating in the air. just above the banner that said SP Annual Firearm Recertification and Family Barbecue. The banner was on fire and, for the moment, strung between two wooden posts parking lot of the outdoor gun range. The foot from the backs of trucks and vans wafted in the air along with the acrid smell of black powder. The Foundation staff and the crowd reached for their weapons and opened fire on the ship above them. The bullets bounced off an invisible wall, some ricocheting back into the crowd. The wooden sailing ship moved forward in the air with black sails flapping in the wind. Dr. Bright moved toward the gun's range parking lot and settled behind a large company van he knew was bulletproof. Dr. Clef and Dr. Wrights were already crouched down behind it. Sorry, this line got me for a second. In my head, they got Gina! No, so they got Lombardi, Wright said as Bright came around the corner. Kondraki and Strelnikov, too, Bright offered. They're fucking efficient. Clef shook his head. They know what they're doing. If they were going to launch a surprise attack, that's who I'd take out first. Bright and Wright squinted at Clef for a moment as the sailing ship drifted over their heads. Clef pursed his lips and looked hurt. I said if. A barrage of fire rained down on the group from above as the sailing ship moved in their direction. Half of Wright's face exploded onto the pavement. Clef screamed at the sky and emptied his guns into the invisible shield between him and his enemy. Someone on board the ship returned a volley of bullets that sank into his torso. Clef dropped the guns and fell forward onto his face. Dr. Bright waited for a bullet to find him, but instead a net fell from the sky. Bright tried to run, but it caught his left foot, and he found himself being dragged away from the ground. But only a little. The ship turned hard right, and Bright smacked into the van, causing it to rock as he was dragged along, and then over the top of it. The ship then began to gain altitude. Bright was feeling a sense of vertigo looking at the world upside down, with the ground beneath him and the sky above. It was that moment that he smacked into one of the wooden posts in the parking lot and was knocked unconscious. Oi, Captain. He's awake. Bright's mouth was dry and his head was still spinning. He could tell he was laying on a wooden floor, and he tried not to vomit from the nausea. I'm pretty sure I have a concussion. Aye, Dr. Bright says you'll live, his own voice answered back. Dr. Bright looked up at the sky. It was pitch black with no moon or stars or clouds. He leaned forward and looking around, he realized he was on the deck of a ship. Wait, a ship had attacked them. You killed people! Aye, the same voice answered back. Dr. Bright saw the man who was speaking looked exactly like he did, but was dressed in a bright purple and yellow coat, a large purple hat with a peacock feather on the side, and big black boots. The man also had a thick brown beard with a variety of jewelry weaved into it. The majority of them were silver with a large ruby at the center. Some were amulets, others rings. There were also a couple of smaller earrings like the one Dr. Bright wore himself. Who are you? Dr. Bright asked. At this point, the rest of the ship's crew had gathered around them as he'd stirred awake, and now were crowding in to get a look at him. Some looked like him, some wore faces he didn't recognize, both male and female. A few were walking upright, but were clearly various ape species. All of them looked a little bit dirty and a little bit ragged. Captain Brightbeard, we were hoping you'd join the crew. Sorry, me crew. Ever think about it just asking? Dr. Bright rubbed the back of his head. Aye, we usually do. But Dr. Clef was serving meat from SCP-008 victims. We shot all the infected in the head, so's the... Dr. Bright's eyes went wide. He said it was a secret family recipe. I was just about to eat some. There was a silence for several minutes, and then a ripple of laughter. Aye, if you don't want to join us, you can go back. We'll show you how we knew. Dr. Bright slowed out from the deck. Are you kidding me? I've wanted to be a pirate since I was a little kid. Once he was standing, Dr. Bright could see over the sides of the ship. On either side was a pitch-black liquid that looked like water. What is this place? Brightbeard laughed. The sea between lands, my friend. The place between dimensions where we can live free. The whole crew jolted as a large crack rang out through the dark and silent sky. Brightbeard's eyes narrowed and called up to the crow's nest. Who be shooting at us? The man at the top of the mainmast looked through the small spyglass. Moments later, he called down. Captain, the dark punches have found us. Brightbeard leaned back and shouted at the crew. Get to your post, you swine. Load the cannons, drop the sails. Dr. Bright looked on as the rest of the ship's crew began to get to work. He shouted after Brightbeard, who was making his way aft to the ship's wheel. What do you want me to do? Brightbeard laughed and looked back. Hoist the fucking colors.
One thing I kind of regret
I
is
forget
like,
how silly this one was.
yeah, the ending was originally like it referenced something else. So the hoist the fucking colors was just like so much better of a pun, I think.
Oh yeah. I know what you're saying. Yeah, and that was the joke, but I don't know. It was actually getting downvote brigaded, so I just decided to head that off at the pass.
Wait, because of the end line or just in general?
No, because okay, I'm just gonna say it because it's not that big of a deal. It was instead of it being the shark punchers, it was the ARP. It was because this is an alternate universe sort of thing. It was literally the RPC authority that was shooting at them.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I can see why that would cause a problem. Laysai.
Still, I thought I'm like I said, I forgot how silly that was. I read a lot of silly shit.
It's silly shit's fun. I think my silliest thing is like, I don't know. I have a weird sense of comedy. Like, people tell me, "Oh, 4690 and 4495 are horror," and it's like, I read them, and like I just see something hilarious, like Kafka-esque maybe, like the idea of a fictional character getting eaten by spiders forever, or the Foundation quite literally serving pig guts to unaware personnel as a form of containment. But like, you gotta have fun somewhere. I think like my absolute silliest thing is, are we gentrified yet? That one's a treat.
Read it.
Yeah, let's hit that one. We've heard it twice today. Is there... You said there was something about it that we shouldn't read it, but I mean, maybe?
Oh. Does anyone want to do like... I can do the curator. Does anyone want to do like the other things?
I
can
don't
make
know
this
what the
like a
other things are
four-person
because I don't
affair.
know that I've read this, but yeah, sure, I'll take.
There's someone can be nobody, someone can read the project proposal, and someone can read the everything else, I think.
I can do the project proposal.
This is Are We Gentrified?
Yep.
Oh, thank you to Sam Eisen, who donated to the live stream. We're $20 further to our goal. Thank you so much, my friend. Gonna remind me to share the donate link some more.
Yeah. Anyone else want to take like one of the other things?
All right, how many things do we have? I'm looking at it now. I see.
There's the curator and the project proposal are taken, so that leaves nobody. And hey, Cimmerian, do you want to do like the news article in addition to the project proposal?
Just the news. Which one? I'm looking at this right now. Where's the project proposal at?
It's near the beginning.
Oh, right. Yeah, I could do those two. Just do those two, and
Right.
somebody else could do nobody.
And the rest is like everyone who, every other email.
Okay,
that'll
so
be.
yeah, I'll take nobody. The other ones, after the news article, I'm seeing a big change with like you know, Big Dick Garden GF and is Pada. It gets different under there. So who do we just like? I'll take over for those, or I don't see how this is going.
I was wondering if like, okay, like there are basically like 4 roles. One's the curator, one's nobody, one's the like documents and articles, and one is the everything else.
So hey, Jake, you want to take the everything else? Party.
All right.
I will be nobody. We have a curator, we have news articles, and we have everything else. 4 characters. Let's kick it.
All right. From curator, the at torchmail.drk. 2. Nobody's a critic at torchmail.drk. Subject. I'm at my limit. Date, February 1st, 2018 at 3:31 p.m. Hey, critic. Sure you heard, but the menagerie's hosting a general exhibition on the 18th. I got most of the slots filled, but I still need around 4 or 5 more acts last minute before I feel comfortable attending the kind of crowd I need now. 3 things I want to mention. MC and D. 1, MC and D are actively gentrifying the back door. 2, the menagerie is union owned. 3, my 2 biggest sponsors in art and money were the KOH Collective and Olney. Do the math.
From nobody's a critic to the curator. Subject, someone's at their limit. February 1st, 2018. Relax, James, relax. The menagerie's gonna live if I got any say in it. Look, you have a show coming up, right? Let me loan you my private collection for 1, and for 2, U of Soho loves the place. I'll put out an open call, see if they can't whip something up for the exhibit. Don't feel like this is going to be the end of the world. That's the jailer's jobs.
Subject, big thanks. February 1st, 2018 at 7:44 p.m. Thanks, yeah. I just didn't expect Arconi to hang herself in the same month Olney collapsed, but I suppose this is the wrong business in terms of workplace safety. Still, no matter the dire straits, I'm glad to know you have my back.
Project Proposal 2018-59, I Heart My Profit. Title, I Heart My Profit by Hansarp. Material requirement. Made molding of Chief Foreman Robert Bomero, already in my possession. 15 gallons of chocolate, a refrigerator. Intent. Love is a strange emotion expressed in a myriad of forms. As a devout Mechanite, I have often been told that I am beloved by my prophet, and I have often told others that I love my prophet. I know this to be true. I love Robert Bomero, and he loves me. For through his grace and his guidance towards McCain, I am able to live out my blessed life as it is. Many of the devout would argue that the ultimate expression of love is sex. It's the culmination of a partnership coming together to create something greater than the sum of its parts. It's 2 people who love each other, committing an act of love, and there's nothing more beautiful than that. Abstract. I'm going to fellatiate the anatomically correct chocolate Robert Bomero as a display of my love and passion, not just towards him, but towards McCain.
Subject, Bomero cock! This email has no body text.
From nobody's a critic to the curator. Regarding Bomero cock. February 5th. Oh, that one. Really, I'm not seeing the problem. I mean, A, it's going to generate a crap ton of talk. B, it's not nearly as bad as the creepy Minotaur thing a while back. And C, don't tell me you don't want to see how this goes down.
Bomero cock! February 15th, 2018 at 3:55 p.m. All right, 1, don't cite that creepy Minotaur at me. That was all Tamlin. 2, what you're suggesting I build is akin to Mechanite sacrilege. Need I remind you the backdoor homes about as many Mechanites as NYC homes Jews? At least Judaism lacks mitzvah regarding welding a cannon to one's arm. 3, this is all disregarding the overly sexual nature of the piece in question. I don't care what Hansop does in his spare time, but while he's in the menagerie, he will be sucking exactly 0 cocks, whether hiding in the bathroom or on the exhibit floor. I am not putting this in the itinerary.
Subject, Bomero cock. You know, it sounds to me like someone doesn't want their museum saved.
Subject. Boomero cock! February 5th, 2018 at 8:19 p.m. Are you missing the point where a madman wants to suck Boomero's cock in my menagerie? You're turning my exhibit into exhibitionism. Most of my invitations were already sent out. You have that list. Riddle me this, critic. Did you see a single Addietum's Lodge moron? Any of the House of Spades goons? Did I headline, subtitle, byline, backpage, Sunday Funny, a single bit of lawyer bait? No! Because the menagerie can't afford that, because it doesn't want that. Look, everything else so far is gold. I don't know how you got that kind of talent. And frankly, I don't care. But know that as long as I'm in charge, Boomero's cock remains unsucked. Capiche?
Trip through the back door, step on through. Backdoor Soho, Tuesday, February 6th, 2018. 5 cents, no refunds. Clock Dock Shock, Cock Block Art Shock, a repugnant display of censorship. By Liar Lamar Turing. Backdoor. It's a grim day when, in the very capital of anomalous counterculture, the allure of money reigns supreme over the duty of an artist. Several sources near and dear to the devastated journalist has confided in them that I Heart My Prophet, the newest masterpiece of award-winning anartist Hansarp, has been pulled from the upcoming Menagerie exhibition despite overwhelming support from anartists worldwide. The culprit, none other than the curator himself. The motive? Money. The Menagerie's actions might have gone unnoticed, if not for the bravery of several anonymous sources within the Soho anart scene. If you hadn't yet heard of I Heart My Prophet, we don't blame you. A bold piece involving...
From Big Dick Garden GF to Curator, regarding the actions of the Menagerie. Hello, I have to say that I'm disappointed in the Menagerie. The world of art is no stranger to controversy. It is additionally no stranger to fake controversy. I find it ludicrous that a simple display of faith, one I might add adds predominantly in the back door, no matter how lurid it may appear on text, would prompt such a rash decision. I am thus issuing an ultimatum. Reinstate I Heart My Prophet in the exhibition itinerary, or remove my works from the Menagerie in their entirety. Sincerely, Stella Freya Lindholm. I'm going to skip that list of things because I'm not going to read all that. From R. Barnes 2 to Curator. Hi there. As one of the oldest pizza establishments in the back door, we're proud to see someone taking a stand against vulgarity for vulgarity's sake. The back door is, after all, the culture capital of the anomalous world. If our standards degenerate, so does our standing. We are therefore offering the Menagerie's upcoming exhibition extensive catering services, free of charge. It's the least we can do to show our thanks and hopefully make up for the union boycotts. Of course, we need access to some of the back rooms, but it'll be worth it for the level of service we provide. L.R. Barnes.
You're not fooling anybody.
Pizza. God. Hey. From Curator the at torchmail.drk. 2. Nobody's a critic at torchmail.drk. Subject. You. February 6th, 2018 at 5:58 p.m. Hello, critic. How are you doing today? I'm doing super. Peachy. I'm fucking peachy. I have grown a thick layer of fuzz, and a Chinese folk hero is going to pluck me from a gravid brain